So Salakia, Esau playing with my computer, man. So the last thing I was saying was I was going to read Revelation 17 and 16 because these devils' whole goal is to draw all these nations for war. And devils playing with my computer, man, because everything's working good, but then they clipped the sound, took this article still down, made the screen black. Okay, because this is real important, man. Because before every war is an economic war. Now, what I was at was Revelation 17, because these devils' whole goal is to make all these nations go to war. But before this war start, it's an economic war, okay, with the sanctions, with the policies and the legislation and the democracy and the philosophy, the draconian measures, which is the word dragon in Revelation. Go back to Draco, the Athenian lawgiver, right? So this is a part two. Lord willing, it go good. But them devils clipped my video. They took the sound away and took the steel I'm using from this article because them bastards is hurt, man. But anyway, their whole job is to draw out these nations. Well, the Lord set up Russia to be a guard to these other nations because America has been a bully over the four corners of the earth because that's who's in rulership. Okay, the so-called white man, the elites, controls all things, man. And then they tell you in the article I was reading that they fund both sides of the war. That's why it always starts with an economic war, economic warfare. With the first war and the second war, man, it was about money. It was about money, man. So I was going to read Revelation 17. You see what the Lord is doing is holding these angels, holding the destruction back until the elect gets sealed. Let me go back to it. Because in Revelation, let me read this for Revelation 16 and 13, it reads, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. And these three unclean spirits, you got London for the financial, you got Washington for the military, and you got the Vatican for the false prophet. These are those three unclean spirits. And it say verse 14, for they are the spirits of devils working miracles. And their miracles is done through that technology, right? Uh Giving paraplegics, making paraplegics move their limbs, making the blind see, right? Those that have dementia and Alzheimer's, however you pronounce it, right? These are be so-called miracles. It say Revelation 16 and 14, for they are the spirit of devils working miracles, right? Through that technology, making everything. You can put all this information in these little SIM cards and all this and that. But they are the spirit of devil working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to battle, to gather them to the battle of the great day of the power almighty. See, these devils' whole job is to gather these nations, man, because they put all these nations came together and put their hands on the apple of the Lord's eye. So, and the Lord set up, and the Lord set up Russia to be a guard to these nations. That's where they were set up. So now these nations looking at how Russia is standing up against this bully. And now these nations is joining Russia to fight by against the bully, man. So this is Revelations 20. But see, these devils' whole job is to gather these nations to go to war, man, to destroy all these nations. Because they put their hands on the apple of the Lord's eye, which is so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Now this Revelation 20 and 7. When 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is at the center of the sea. So the elites' whole goal is to gather these nations, man. And that's why I tell you in Revelations, this is our second Ezra, 11 and 39. It reads, "Are not thy it that remainest of the four beasts whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times may come through them." So when you read about these four beasts in Daniel's 2, right? It said they're gonna be like iron, like potter's iron and potter's clay. Because we at the 10 feet. And these 10 feet, you got is mixed with iron and clay. The iron will be in the Roman Empire, the clay will be the other 16 heathen nations. So, but it say, let me read this in Daniel's 2. Because I was reading, but I don't know if it got caught in the video. I was trying to watch the video and see where it stopped at. But it stopped at like 26 minutes. And I was like 52 minutes in. These devils clipped the whole 30 minutes almost, man. But it's all good. So this is Daniel's 2 and 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and their toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, which is the Roman Empire, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. The miry clay be the other nation, the 16 heathen nations. And at the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, talking about the Edomites. Okay, the so-called white man, he's going to mingle himself with the heathen nations, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with miry clay. And the reason they got to be cleaved to each other, because the Lord, which let me get this. The Lord said he will make them, see, these kings' heart is in the control of the Lord, man. Okay? So until the words of the Lord be fulfilled, which is the elect being sealed, the pressure is building with these other nations joined to the Edomites, man. And the Lord said he's going to use the worst of the heathen to destroy. See, America just the least control the world from America, man. Not one of those elites stay in America. Not one of them, man. The elites control the world from America. America just the headquarters. The same way Jerusalem gonna be the headquarters when Yahweh's kingdom established on earth. Jerusalem gonna be the headquarters. Okay, that's what America is. The elites control the world from America, because there's 193 nations that's joined to the UN. Last time I checked, there's 103 nations joined to the UN, man. They control the world from America. This is Revelation 17 and 16. It reads, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Why? Because all the sanctions, because of the policies and the legislations and the democracy and the philosophy, the draconian measures, and mainly that dollar, man. Okay? Because they can't get around this dollar, man. This is the pressure that's being built up. And once the elect gets sealed, the pressure, the Lord, hey, that's when everything gonna take place, man. Okay? The sea hill gonna be made mandatory in World War III, man. And the 10 horns thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For power have put in their hearts, right? Proverbs 21 and 1. For power have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of power shall be fulfilled. What's the words of the Lord being fulfilled? The elect getting sealed, man, which is in Revelation 7, right? 1 through 3. The elect got to be sealed first. And then, so going back to 2 Ezra 11 and 39, it reads, "Are not thy it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times may come through them?" See, the end of the so-called white man times is going to come through the so-called white man, right? When you go to in Jeremiah, it said the same thing. In Jeremiah 50, see, the end of that time is going to come through them, man. So that whole job, that whole existence on earth was to gather these nations together. And what's going on right now is pressure being built up, man. And that's what the Brexit was all about. Okay, Great Britain separating from America, which is in Jeremiah, man. Matter of fact, let me read it in Jeremiah 50, in verse. Hold on here. Let's get this. Jeremiah 51. See, this place is established, man, to destroy the nations through that petrodollar, man, through that draconian measures. And that's what the whole Brexit was all about, man. In Jeremiah, is it 50? Let's see. I think it's 50. See, the end of that time is going to come through them, man. Bear with me here. It said that your mother shall be sore confounded with you, she that bare you, right? Let me read this verse. Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Babylon. It reads, therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Babylon, and his proposals that he have proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And the least of the flock is the elites, man. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. See, and it's talking about the elites. Same thing is said in Second Ezra, in Second Ezra 11 and 39. Let me read that again. It reads, Second Ezra 11 and 39. Are not thy it that remaineth of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times may come through them? And that's why I sent Revelation 11. Let's get that. Revelation 13. See, their whole job is to make these nations go to war, man. Let's get this. Revelation 13 and 1. It reads, and I stood upon the sun of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having seven heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, which Yahweh shall come to take these crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, the beginning rulership of the Greeks, so-called white man, the beginning rulership of the so-called white man, start with the Greeks, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, which is the Russians, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And that seat started with the Romans, man. So let me go back to what is that? Jeremiah. Let me see. Bear with me here. Hey, that was gonna clip the video, man. I was going in, man. So let me see if I can get this. This is Jeremiah. Let me get it from here. Cause that Brexit was about Great Britain separating from Babylon the Great, man. What is that? Let me pull it up. It's been a minute since I pulled it up. Bear with me. Now see this whole deal, this pressure, man. This pressure is building with these nations, man. And that's the elite's job to bring that pressure, man. So when the elect gets sealed and they line everything up, man, these nations is lining everything up. So the Lord got them lining everything up perfectly. So when the elect gets sealed, they're gonna destroy this place, man. Trying to find this verse. Bear with me here. Oh, okay. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 12. That's what the breakthrough was about, man. Them separating from Babylon, but they still join. They still join, but a lot of pressure is building up, man. This is Jeremiah 50 and 12. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness. See, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land and a desert. Why? Because it said in this same chapter, verse 45, the least of the flock shall draw them out, which is the elites, man. The elites is drawing out these rest of these nations, man, which that's their whole goal. So it said in the article, let me go back to this article, man. Because I was going through economic warfare and why everything starts from economic warfare, man. And it talks about how the elites fund both sides of the war, man. And this is a heavy article too. I gotta watch the video and see if I had got everything out of it that I was trying to get, because it mentioned about man, there's so much in this article, man. But these devils, through their trade embargoes, through their military power, okay, it talks about, I think I mentioned it, yeah, the Spanish Civil War, the Cold War, Libya, and all this, man, is them controlling all the resources, man. So this economic warfare always starts first, man, and then come a real war, and that's what happened with World War One and World War Two. See, these devils playing on my computer again, man, and I don't understand what's going on because I'm on 5G now. See, now they didn't clip the video again. Hold on. See these devils, man, they hurt, man. And I'm on 5G. So and it's early in the morning. All the kids at school around here, so it should be no problem, man. I ain't never had no problem in the morning when I'm using my internet, man. Now all of a sudden, I got these articles going back and forth with this. Now my computer, these bastards, man. It's all good though. It's all good. These devils is something serious, man. They keep playing with my internet, man. They keep muting my microphone, and they keep they keep hitting my stop cam, man. Wow, these devils is hurt. So, and I was going to in Obadiah 1:7, right? They are drawing their enemies to the border, man. But right now, the Lord got his hand on them until the elect gets sealed. Once the elect gets sealed, because the Lord set up Russia to be a guard to these nations. And in that article, in the economic war article, it mentioned all these nations, man, how they shut off all the allies to Soviet Union, right? How they shut off Libya. And that's why I tell you in Ezekiel 38 that Libya is one of those nations, man. See, these devils is hurt, man. It is truth. It's destroying these bastards. So here it is. The Lord got these nations lining up. So the moment the elect gets sealed, that CHIP get made mandatory, World War III, man. They can't do nothing right now because the elites control everything. They fund both sides of everything, man. So while it look like these nations are separate, which they is, but they got to play ball, man. They got to play ball. They trying to figure out other ways to get around the petrodollar. Listen, you see, and they can't because the elites control everything, man. This is a game to have the minds of the people to conform and comply to the system, man. This is what's going on. And I don't know if I put in the last clip, but in the last I mentioned, see, the Lord got an avenue. Like I tell you in John 10 and 1, you either gonna come through the straight gate or you ain't coming, man. Right? Either you gonna come through the straight gate, Yahweh Shema Shah, or you ain't gonna have no what they call it provision. You ain't gonna have no food and water in Jacob's trouble. Same thing with the so-called white man. It's same thing. See, the white man, the so-called white man got a God complex, man. He trying to be the Lord. So the same way how Yahweh Shema Shah got the avenue set up, you gotta come through the straight gate, or you ain't gonna make it. The so-called white man got it set the same way. Either you're gonna take this sea hill, or you gonna be out back, man. You ain't gonna have nothing. This is what he doing. He got a God complex. When you go to Jeremiah, not Jeremiah, Isaiah, right? Isaiah 14. What did he say? Let's read this. I gotta keep going back and forth to make sure my camera's still going. Cause the minute I click in the blue letter and click off, these devils keep shutting my webcam, and my mic off, man. These bastards, man. But right here it say Isaiah 14 and 13, he say, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. Right? In Ezekiel, which I was reading, because the Lord said He's gonna bring the worst of the nations. He's gonna bring the worst of the heathen on these bastards over here, man. So in Ezekiel 28, he say, with a pride in it, right? What is bastard say? Let's read this. Ezekiel 28 and 5, it reads, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, because thou hast said in thy heart, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. Behold, therefore I will bring the strangers. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations. And I was making a point about how the Lord said, and when you read Ezekiel 7:24, the Lord said He's going to bring the worst of the heathen in Jerusalem, which is the Edomites, which He did. So now the Lord is going to use these same Edomites, but He said, I will bring the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their sword against thy beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. See, that pit is slavery. The Lord say, they shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Will thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? But thou shalt be a man. Right? Isaiah 14. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble? But thou shalt be a man and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord Yahweh, power. So, and they tell you in Ezekiel 38, Ezekiel 35, the Lord say, because of the hatred of the so-called white man, what he did to us, He's going to use the same hatred on him. In Ezekiel 35, it reads, because thou had a perpetual hatred and had shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, right? Matthew 11:12. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent took it by force. It say, because thou had a perpetual hatred and had shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time of their iniquity had an end. So verse 11 say, therefore as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. And that's what it says in Sirach 36. The Lord going to magnify his name among them before us. Okay? And it say, I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. See, and that's why the Lord judged us, and they get to see it, right? And hence, and it said they hissed and wagged the tail at us and laughed in Lamentations 2:15. So let me get this in 2 Thessalonians, because this is them talking about they are God, man. I want to make this point. 2 Thessalonians. This devil said what? He is God, right? 2 Thessalonians 2:4 say, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, right? Now, when you go to Isaiah, got to get this too. In Isaiah 47, what did this bastard say? In Isaiah 47, it say, let me go up one verse. This is Isaiah 47 in verse 6. It reads, I was wroth with my people. This is the Lord speaking. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient, this ancient go back because we angels, man. Okay? This ancient go back to angels. Upon the ancient has thy very heavenly laid thy yoke. And thou saidest, I shall be elated forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Right? So he said right here, verse 10, the Lord say, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, Isaiah 47:10, it hath perverted thee. And this is what the so-called white man said. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Where is that verse at? It's in Isaiah. This is the Lord speaking, right? The Lord said that he is and none else. Well, this is what the so-called white man is saying. And since you want to boast like you the Lord said right here in Isaiah 48 in verse, what is that, 46? Let me see. I think it's Isaiah 46. See, this is what these devils saying, man. They trying to play the role of the Lord. Right. This is the same thing he said in Isaiah 47. Isaiah 46:9. Remember the former things of old, for I am power, and there is none else. See, I am God, and there is none like me. This is the same thing the so-called white man saying in Isaiah 47 about his kingdom gonna be forever. Let's read again, Isaiah 47:11. Isaiah 47:10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Right? Thy wisdom and thy judgment, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. See, this is the same thing the Lord just said in Isaiah 46, man. So here it is, these devils talking, they boasting because they have a God complex. So, just like I was saying earlier, I don't know if it's in the last clip, because the last clip only, I rewatched a little bit of it. It only goes to 26 minutes and like 38 seconds, and then it stopped. But it was that video I just did was at 52 minutes, man. It's a lot. So that video I just got through doing was at 52 minutes and some change. But when I went back to it and looked at it on YouTube, it was only at 26 minutes and 38 seconds, and they stopped it. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but these devils is playing the Lord, man. They trying to play God, man. I just read Isaiah 47. He's saying that he is God and none else. That's what the Lord be saying all through the scriptures, man. I read Isaiah 46. So these bastards, the same way the Lord got an avenue set up, the only way he's going to get to the kingdom of heaven It's through the straight gate. You can't climb up some other way. There ain't no back door, ain't no window you can sneak in. No. So the so-called white man, it's the same way. Either you're gonna take the sea hill so you can eat, or you ain't gonna have no way in, man. So the Lord say, because thou hast showed no mercy, right? Let's read this again, Isaiah 47:6. I was wroth with my people, I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy, upon the ancient has thy very heavily laid thy yoke. So in Ezekiel 28, the Lord gonna bring these nations on this devil, man. Let's go back to Obadiah. See, they've been using their economic warfare, man, to cause these nations to be under pressure. It said, all the men of thy confederacy, Obadiah 1:7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. See, and their whole job is to draw these nations out, man. That's their whole goal. The Lord set them up to draw these nations, the least of the flock, which is the elites of the Edomites, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Jeremiah 15:45. Same thing is said in 2 Ezra 11:39, that the end of their times may come through them. So it said, I'm gonna read this again. And it's economic warfare, right? It's a economic warfare, the use of or the threat to use economic means against a country in order to weaken its economy and thereby reduce its political and military power. And that's what they did to these other countries. Economic warfare also includes the use of economic means to compel an adversary to change its policies, see, or behavior, or to undermine its ability to conduct normal relations with other countries. Some common means of economic warfare are trade embargoes, boycotts, sanctions, tariffs, discriminations, the freezing of capital assets. And what did Biden say? Biden said that they was coming for Russia oligarchy, ill-gotten gains. Well, how did you get America, man? You got America through ill-gotten gains, man. What are he talking about? He was coming for the Russian oligarchies, yachts and ill-gotten gains. How did you get America, man? It's a economic warfare. It's a some common means of economic warfare are trade embargoes, boycotts, tariff discriminations, the freezing of capital assets, the suspension of aid, the prohibition of investment, and other capital flows and exploitation. It's a country engaged in economic warfare seek to weaken an adversary's economy by denying the adversary's access to necessary physical, financial, and technological resources, or by otherwise inhibiting its ability to benefit from trade, financial, and technological exchanges with other countries. Economic, and that's what these devils did, man. That's what the elites is doing. They controlling the world from North America, Babylon the Great, man. North America, Babylon the Great is the headquarters for the elites to control the world, man. Just how Jerusalem gonna be the headquarters for us to control the earth, man. It's an economic warfare consisting of blockades and the interception of contraband among peace, the so-called white man. Okay, it's a in modern times it used to have broadened to include putting pressure on neutral countries from which enemy countries could obtain supplies and deny potential enemy goods that might contribute to their war-making ability. See, one of the primary types of economic warfare employed in the 20th century was the embargo, sometimes total and sometimes restricted to strategic goods, i.e., those that are essential for military purposes. During the Cold War, for example, the United States and its allies attempted to deny the Soviet Union technologicals, and high economic and military value. Technologies of high economic and military value. So lucky, I gotta keep going back and check and make sure the thing's still working. I'm back in the article. Cause last time I kept going back and forth, they clipped my cam and my mic. It say, hey, cause this is cold. It say the effectiveness of economic warfare depends on a capacity of internally from other countries. For example, efforts by the United States to oust Fidel Castro from power in Cuba by maintaining a decade-long embargo was frustrated by increasing trade between Cuba and Mexico and Canada and Western Europe. Although economic warfare is often considered a relatively inexpensive complement or alternative to military engagement, it imposes costs on the initialing country by denying its economic exchange with the targeted country. For example, consumers in the United States pay higher costs for goods that could have been imported more cheaper from Cuba or other targeted countries, such as Iran, and America's business were denied access to their goods and markets. Hold on. Clicking back on StreamYard, making sure. See, they done did it again. See? See? I'm gonna start using this article, man. This article is heavy, man. They want to keep clipping my cam, man. They want to keep clipping my cam, man. Hey, these devils are some serious, man. It's a. I want to jump down to these others, cause man, this is a heavy article, man. Cause it goes into embargoes. So it's say right here, this next part. This is a lot. It's a lot of it's fire in this article, man. If you just go to Google and type in economic warfare, because this is what happened before war starts. Now I want to mention it. I want to mention this. Say in 1937, United States imposed an arms embargo for this purpose on both sides. On both sides in the Spanish Civil War and in 1991, United Nations attempted to halt the fight on Yugoslavia, which America dropped bombs on Yugoslavia. Fat Man and Little Boy. They dropped bombs on Yugoslavia, just like they did with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They dropped bombs on Yugoslavia, which I'm reading in the article. Yugoslavia and Bosnia. NATO did that. So it's a look, because the elites control both sides of this, man. Hold on, bear with me here. Okay. So it's a in 1937, United States imposed an arms embargo for this purpose on both sides in the Spanish Civil War, and in 1991, the United Nations attempted to halt the fight in the form of potential threats. The military throughout the Cold War, for example, the Coordinating Committee is managed a multilateral embargo that restricted the export of strategic goods from its member states to the Soviet Union. Since the end of the Cold War, strategic embargoes have been imposed against Iraq, Libya, and North Korea. See, they got the word Libya, got Libya now, man. And Libya, when you're reading Ezekiel 38, is one of the nations that's going to join Russia, man. Look, they done clipped my screen. I'm glad I came back. Why they keep messing with my damn webcam, man? I need to take the video down. Just go back to I'm trying to read some more of this, man. Maybe I should just read it from my phone. Hey, cause these bastards, boy, I tell you, they is some serious. Hold on. Hurt, man. These bastards is hurt, man. So let me see. Let me just pull up on. You know what? I'll just read it from my phone. Let me see if I can pull this back up. Bear with me here. Cause every time I click off and come back, they done froze me. They stopped the webcam. So bear with me. Let me pull it back up right here. I just want to read some more of this, man, because it show you, hey, the economic. Oh, it ain't even showing that on the screen. I'm still got the 24 nations. So this economic warfare, right? Let me hit it again. I just want a couple more points I want to make out of this. Let me see what this is. Okay. So this is let me go down where I'm at right now. Bear with me here. I just want to read a little bit more of this, man, because this is important, man. Because this is why these nations is fighting, man. So it's an embargo, right? Legal prohibition by a government or a group of governments restricting the departure of vessels or movement of goods from some of all locations to one or more countries. And this is what they're doing, man. It said embargo is a tool of economic warfare that may be employed for a variety of political purposes, including demonstrating resolve, sending a political signal, retaliating for another country's action, compelling a country to change its behavior, deterring it from engaging in undesired activities, and weakening its military capability. For example, in 1992, the United States redoubled its efforts to enforce compliance with its decade-long embargo against Cuba in order to retaliate for the downing of a civilian American airplane by the Cuban Air Force and to demonstrate its resolve to maintain a trade restriction despite growing opposition to them at home and abroad. So yeah, it said 1937, United States imposed an arms embargo for the purpose of both sides in a Spanish Civil War. And in 1991, the United Nations attempted to halt the fighting in the former Yugoslavia by imposing an arms embargo against all the belligerents. An embargo may also be imposed to prevent potentially threatened countries from increasing their military power throughout the Cold War. For example, so I read that. So this is what they doing, man. Look, it say embargoes are not imposed against enemy ships and other potential because their status as enemy property usually subjects them to other types of actions. It say, but they can be imposed by belligerents on neutral ships who also may exercise the right of angary by the neutrals on belligerent ships. For example, in 1941, this is when the Second World War happened. Before it officially became a belligerent, the United States seized German, Italy, Danish, and French ships lying idle in American waters and also froze the assets of the Axis powers. They got in here about Vietnam. It said the U.S. embargoes against Vietnam did not prevent Vietnamese consumers from acquiring American computers and other embargo goods throughout third parties. It's a lot in this article, man. It's heavy. So, but this is what these devils is using. This is what happened first, man. Economic warfare. And either you're going to play ball just like they did with Gaddafi, man. Okay, this man was trying to go back to gold, man. And they had to get rid of him. Because either you're going to play with the elites how they want you to play, or you ain't gonna have nothing. Same thing with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. Either you're gonna fall in line with the Lord, or you ain't gonna have nothing. And see, this guy got this so-called white man have a God complex, man. So they control both sides. Hold on. Is that not with the Lord? Right? The righteous and the wicked. The Lord controls both sides. And it's heavy because that's what the so-called white man are doing, man. That's what the elites is doing. They playing both sides, man. This is heavy, man. But this is how war starts. By economic. Matter of fact, let me put this up. As a matter of fact, let me put this up real quick. Just to show it on the screen. Let's get rid of this. Let's put this up real quick. It's right here. Economic warfare, man. You see, it's a international law. Before it starts. This was going on right now in Ukraine, man. This was happening, man. This is about international law of the so-called white man. Economic warfare. This is what happened when a war starts. So let me get this. In Isaiah, and I didn't mean for this to go this long, man. But them devils clipped my first part. So thus saith the Lord, it is what it is. In Isaiah 10 and 1. See, economic warfare, international law, man. Who established this? Esau Edom, man, the so-called white man. Okay? It's a Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And see, that's why these other nations, the Lord says, stir up the dead for him, man. Because they didn't do this to us, so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. They doing it to everybody else. Why? Because them devils said, man, we can get the Israelites, and we can take them down. We can take any other nation, man. See, if they can get us, they can get anybody, man. It say, and what will ye do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? Who? Iran, India, Turkey, Libya. To whom will ye flee for help? And what will ye leave your glory? See? Hello, man. And I love it, man, because in Jeremiah 48, the Lord said, give wings to Moab, man. Let me see if they can escape too. It's like Babylon. Man, again, Isaiah 10 and 3. Hey, you Edomites, boy. The Lord got you on a real trick bag. And what we do in the day of visitation and in the desolation which shall come from far, which is Yahweh shall coming from far as well. Hey, as the nations, with that Jeremiah 59, these nations, this country, okay, which is Russia. If you look on the map, Russia coming from the north, man. Okay, the ancient, what is called the ancient Soviet Union is in the north. Look it up. To whom will ye flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Man, this is Psalms 96, Psalms 94 and 20. It reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? See, this is what they do, man. Economic warfare, man. See, the devil done did it again. It's okay. I'm about to close up. It don't matter. Economic warfare, man. That's how these devils get down, man. This devil don't want to give him the camera back. Man, this ain't my people ain't never did this, man. Wow. Ain't this some? Now my mic gonna mute in a minute. It's all good though. Hey, so Lord willing, it's edifying.